Hi everybody, welcome along to this special episode of the Boots to Billing podcast. We're on the road today. As you can see, we're in different surroundings. We're in Falkirk Stadium sitting with the Falkirk manager, John McGlynn. How are you, John?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks very much. Thanks for coming along, and hopefully it's going to be a bit of fun with a bit of luck and a bit of entertainment.
John, I'm keen for this because this guy talks like he was Buffon and you've actually managed him. So I can't wait to get the truth at you today. That's going to be brilliant.
No, listen, John knows. I actually only thought you were Scottish Manager of the Year. I know you've won it the last year, kind of modest guy, but you've won it the last 2 years, but you've actually won it 3 times in total. And you released me, so you obviously know what you're talking about.
That's a downside. That's a downside. It's the worst day in your life.
Well, it says it made him, didn't you, mate?
Aye.
So it's all good. So everybody, John, when I was doing a bit of research into you, we always jump back to the start of everybody's career because we love to know what was the motivators for football. But it was interesting your story when I read into it because you'd obviously been at Berwick Rangers and I think you're on the junior teams and stuff, but It seems you went into coaching quite young as well, which is a first for this podcast as well. So could you just tell us a wee bit about your early football for us?
Yeah, well, let's go back even further. So I was an S form at Dundee United between 14 and 16.
Right.
So it was the old schoolboy forum.
Yep.
It was, that's what you signed away back in the day. So a couple of years on that, obviously I was still playing my boys club team. And you used to go up to Dundee, like Easter holidays, a bit of the summer holidays, maybe a little bit of Christmas. Just you went up and done a bit of training and all that for the couple of years. But I got released at 16. As I say, I was playing with Musselburgh Windsor. I got a trial with Bolton Wanderers at 17, and I went down, did well in the game, got another invitation to go back down again, and managed to get a contract, a sort of young professional contract. I'd also, when I left school at 16, I started plumbing apprenticeship.
Right.
So when I went to Bolton, I kept that kind of going on the theory side, and going to college, not the practical side. So I was about 18 months at Bolton, but that was all I ever wanted to be. I just wanted to be a football player, and I kind of like, you're living your kind of dream, albeit that I never got any further than sort of the reserve team. Came up the road, Berwick Rangers, they were in League One at that time, but that was almost like what the Championship is now, going back in the day. So Frank Connor had just taken over for Davy Smith. Frank made a few signings. I was one of them. And I had 3 years at Berwick between Frank, Jim McSherry and Eric Tate. They were the 3 managers I had there. I went into junior football at Musselburgh.
Yep.
Started Billy Brown, is a name that'll probably crop up a few times in this podcast. Billy in the longer term has been a big help to myself. So he's a manager at Musselburgh, and just towards the tail end of that, I started kind of coaching youth teams, and I went to Whitehall Welfare, was playing there and mixing with the youth team that I'd been volunteered to get in.
What age were you at this point?
I think I was roughly around about 26.
26 and coaching already?
Yeah. Which is quite old now for coaching, because you get into much, much younger now, It used to be at the end of your playing days, you would go into that, there's a lot of guys that actually play now that go through the coaching thing. So, so I was kind of mixing that. So you're kind of like maybe a couple of nights with your own team training, and obviously you're a young team training as well. So and then a game on a Saturday, game on a Sunday. So it was quite a big commitment. But the following year, it was a matter that the youth team games were going to be on a Saturday, and I decided to go and just continue the coaching process. And we took the team for 13s up to 18s, so a period of 5-6 years, a couple of years at under 18s, and then I got into East Uses Lorry as a co-manager.
Right.
Again, that was probably only for about a season, and then Musselburgh Athletic, I got into managing them.
Yep.
So picking up experience all the time. I kind of found that when you're coaching the youth players, and parents have got a big say on the kids and everything like that. And I've kind of felt over the years that if you can I was in that quite a considerable time, and if you can deal with parents, you can almost just about deal with most things that you're going to come up about, and you know, just the way it is. Yeah. So yeah. So when I was at Musselburgh, so as manager, the Jim Jeffries and Billy Brown just went from Falkirk to Hearts.
Yep.
And at that time, the under-16 youth initiative was starting up, so it was kind of like one age group, which the academy system that they've got now in Scotland, that started away back then, probably 1995, 96. And it was just, well, there was under-18s and they were full-time. The under-16 started up, and it was kind of like a part-time thing. So it was basically a couple of nights a week, and then they would have a game on a Sunday. And so I got involved in that. They opened the door. I've been working, as I say, I'd had youth training and working within the youth and coaching in the youth, and this was starting up. So that was me getting into the professional side, but working at under 16 level. In the November of '98, Paul Hegarty was first team coach at Hearts. He went to Aberdeen Wellick Miller. Peter Houston, who was the under-18 coach at Hearts, moved up to being the first team coach. Right. And there was a little bit of a job available with under-18s at Hearts. And I'd be working the 16s. It was kind of like, for me, a natural progression. But of course, there was no obligation for anyone to give me the job. But fortunately enough, I did get that step up. And as I say, in November of '98, I then gave up the kind of plumbing side of things, because I'd obviously got back into the plumbing, and went full time into coaching. Which again, once I started coaching, that was kind of my dream would be to be full time coaching. So yeah, I was at Hearts for the next, well, until 2006, basically.
Right. So what was that when you were under 18s at Hearts? What age were you in when you went into in there full time?
More years on, probably around about 30, 32, 33, probably.
Quite unusual at the time, but for a young guy, early 30s, to be going in coaching.
I picked up a lot of experience.
What gave you for that whole story there, what gave you the gist to want to leave playing football at like late 20s to be a coach? Did you think about it when you were younger, or was it just something you got a wee knack for with the kids and then just kicked on for it? What
kind of got volunteered into it, to be honest with you.
Became good at it, and they're like, you can go and do that.
My brother and a few other parents of a club, they were a little bit disgruntled, the old dairying thing, and I got volunteered for it. So it wasn't necessarily my kind of choice at the time. It was like I play football, so you'll do. You'll do. You must know what you're doing. So I got into at that very young age group, under 13s, and worked all the way up. And we feel successful winning things, and then getting players into pro games and that. So so I kind of got volunteered into it, and then obviously you get the bug. You get the bug like everyone does. Yeah. And then I never ever thought that I would get an opportunity, because it's very hard to break in. And you need someone to open that door. Yeah. And thankfully, being at Hearts for that 3 years, 95, 96, into that 98, they seen enough in me to think that I could do that job. And that, as I say, I was there then, reserve team manager, a caretaker manager on 3 different occasions. Came right through, worked with Jim Jeffries, Billy Brown, Housty, and Craig Levine came in, so it was Craig Levine, Housty, myself. John Robertson came in for a spell. I always felt John was a little bit, got a bit of raw deal type thing. He came in and it was in between the Chris Robinson and the Romanoff changeover, so John got appointed by Chris Robinson, but by the end of the season, Romanoff had kind of taken over, and Romanoff wanted to bring in, brought in George Burley. And unfortunately, John, got a job for him, basically, And so, but learnt a lot for all these guys, and then George Burley came in and brought in some top players and hit the ground running. And obviously that was a season, quite a difficult season. It'll be October, Hearts were going along great, top of the league. But then between Romanoff and George Burley, it didn't work out.
Aye,
So
that's right. It was well
Didn't win some
publicised.
like the first 7 or 8 games, Sean.
it was like
Aye.
that. Yeah, it was
Top of
great.
the league.
It was
Aye.
great. It was brilliant. And George Burley had the players. He knew the palm of his hands.
Yeah.
And everything just kind of like clicked the way he worked. Everything just worked. And they were good players, though. They brought in a lot of good players. I like to the core of the team with.
Yeah.
It was a young Craig Gordon, but Presley, Webster,
Aye.
Hartley.
Aye.
You go through the team.
Aye,
There was a good core. Robbie Nielsen, Alan Maybury, Jamie McAllister, Neil McFarlane. They were all good players. There'll be others that have been no go. But then we brought in Takis Vikas, Edgaras Jankowskis, Julian Brelia, Aguiar, Chesnauskis.
What was that
McGlynn's.
atmosphere? What was that atmosphere like with Romanoff? People always, because outside in, people used to think never. There was always jokes saying he'd be in the changing room, and was he quite as bad as that?
Nah,
Or
it
was
wasn't as bad as that. It wasn't as bad as that. He was there all the time.
No.
Yeah, he was there all the time, and it was a bit mental, like, but
Aye.
because like even changing the manager, so George Burley went.
Yeah.
Graham Ricks came in. That didn't last too long.
Aye, that's right.
So we were on our third manager. We had Edgaras Jankowskis. He had won the Champions League with Porto.
Aye.
He was in the background all the time for the beginning of the season. He was a Lithuanian, sure, and then he was there in the coaching in the background all the time. Well, he was then put in charge, and I was working with him as assistant, and still managed to. We didn't win the league, but we managed to split the Old Firm and won the Scottish Cup by beating Gretna on penalties. So still says Hearts in the cup, doesn't it? Have to go into the detail of beating Gretna on penalties. Yeah, so it was a bit.
Ryan Stevenson talked about that time. I think
Ryan came in just after.
He came in.
Just after that.
He was saying there was some last squad of like 60 players or something like that. And when he came in, they literally pulled somebody out for their locker and changed the initials and says, you can get changed out there. And they felt terrible, but it was just a lack of space because there was so many players.
Exactly. No, they brought in 10, 11 players and transfer deadline and just come in and
you didn't know anything about it.
Two squads training. The first team, there was the ones who were kind of surplus. I got them to train, and some of them were good players like Lee Johnson and guys like that ended up surplus to requirements. Who Graham Ricks had kind of like brought in, and previous manager had brought in players, and they were good players. Others had to can't remember June McAllister. Others maybe Neil McFarlane guys who would because they brought in like Takis Vikas had won the European Championship with Greece and all that, and they were top players, and so others kind of fell down by the wayside and they had to get trained. So it was kind of like nuts at times, but football, you keep your head down, you get on with the job, and
good learners.
The team was winning. Aye, of course you are. Top managers that you're picking things up from all the time. But towards the end of that season, Hearts kind of qualified to be in the qualifications for the Champions League. I think it was, that got beat by AEK Athens, dropped into something else, and got beat by Spartak Prague, I think it was. And there was different managers that had come in. Edward Malafif had came in the close season, so he was kind of like the manager, and the sporting directors coming in, they were all like for that neck of the woods type thing, and it just wasn't feeling quite right for me, and I'd seen quite a lot. So Craig Levein was quite again would be maybe spoke about a few times in this. Craig went to Leicester in 2004. He ended up losing his job at Leicester. He had come back. He was managing Raith Rovers in 2006ish, and he was there that long either. And he got the job at Dundee United. And so there was I asked Craig to put my name forward to the directors to see if I could get an interview for the Raith Rovers job. And
I was going to ask that because obviously I was there at the time. I was.
Did you play Raith Rovers?
I played the Raith Rovers. I don't know if you heard about it. Played a year that season, actually. But don't worry about it. Don't talk about it next season. No, but Craig Levein came in, and he had 11 games. I don't know if you know Craig's record, but he won 1 out of 11 games. And we were sitting second bottom of the league when you're probably fully aware of it.
I was fully aware you were a second bottom of the league.
Aye.
It's hard not to get that when you go.
Not the goalie's fault though.
It wasn't my fault. It's just where's in front of us. But you took us for second bottom of the league, and that was November. You came in and we ended up at second or third in the league, so we went on some run at the end of the season.
We did. I think we were third. I think we were best we could, because I think Morton kind of had it tied up, and Newry still in Albion were a decent side at the time, so they were a good few points ahead. But we did do well to go for second bottom to get to the playoffs. You're always hoping you were going to get up, but it took 3 years actually.
But see, when you look at that still an Albion team, you look back, they had Colin Cram, David Bingham, Robert Snodgrass, Chris Aiken. They're a good team. They're a really good team. And they were only part-time as well, but they were a cracking team.
Yeah.
One thing I remember when you came in, I think I've told this story on here before, and I don't know if you remember this, right? But where the changing room was, Raith Rovers, there used to be a cupboard across for the changing room. And the first thing you did is we came back in on the Thursday, and you'd went in there and you spent 2 or 3 days basically shifting everything out the cupboard and building us a boot room. And straight away the players are like, right, we're all in with this guy, because you'd done that for us, and we felt like a professional football team then. We felt like a proper club because you'd done that for us. But I don't know, was that deliberate to get the players on side, or was it just something that you thought, no, we need that?
It's a part of me basically, that I want high standards. And if you've not got money, so we couldn't really go out and get players as such. So you've got to do it in different ways. And I think that by doing these things and making the place better for everyone, then I think you get buy-in, and I think you've got to get that. Like the kit wasn't great, the balls we were training we weren't great, so we got new balls. I think somebody had been selling the balls before us. So we were training with tatties. One of the first nights we trained, there's a rugby club, right? You'll probably remember this. The rugby club up in the park. I can't remember what the name of the park is. So the light from the rugby club was shone over this hedge, and we trained on a bit of grass. It wasn't even like a proper blinking pitch or nothing. It was like just some light. We were stealing the light. There weren't even meant to probably be there.
Wild, isn't it?
And we were training, and they were meant to be like trying to get this team away from second bottom of the league. So we did things, and we tidied up the kit, and we got a little bit of things that you can afford without it costing a lot of money, and respecting the place and making the place cleaner and tidier and all that type of thing, trying to get the buy-in. And I've done that virtually everywhere I've went. I've ended up putting new showers in it at Starks Park.
So the plumbing came back in then, came in handy.
Exactly. No, I wasn't scared to get my hands dirty and get mucked into, trying to make things better for each and everyone else. And you're looking at giving out honesty and hard work, and what you want back is the same honesty and hard work, and you've got a chance of getting it. But if you think that you can roll up and just go out and coach and it's just everything's just going to, you've got to get everyone on board, from the cleaning lady all the way through the thing. You have to respect people and give them a place and try to get the best out of them and make it easier and better for everyone. And of course sometimes it'll work and something. No, I've found it's kind of worked.
But you built a brilliant backroom team there. We talked about it earlier. At the time, I'm sure it was Gary Kirk was your assistant. Obviously, Gary's sadly not with us anymore. You had Gunter again, who's sadly passed away. You'd a really good backroom team, and I take it that's something. Even now at Falkirk, when you're absolutely flying at that, it's not just you maybe get all the limelight, but it's not just about the manager. It's about the full backroom team. The whole thing, because the manager can't do everything, so he needs everyone to be on board. So Gary was there. Gary worked with Craig, and Craig moved on, and it took a wee while for Gary to go with Craig. And but Gary was brilliantly, and I got on great with Gary all the way through, and it is very sad that he's no longer here. Tragedy, really. But then that's where, for about a month, Donald Park came in, and then Donald went with Mixie Patalainen back to Hibs, which was great. So we gave him a little bit of filler, and he went. And then so bring in Paul Smith and his merger, and we worked the rest of that time. And as you said, Wayne Henderson, the goalkeeping coach, which worked great with you guys. Gunter, the kit man, was a fantastic guy. Again, sadly no longer with us.
Felt some stories about him.
We might as well just tell the story.
This one might be clearer.
We'll probably get.
I've heard a few stories of it.
We'll probably get kicked off air, but we'll tell it anyway, and then we can edit it out. But Gordon Brown was a famous Raith Rovers fan at the time, and
Still is.
Gordon Brown had been the Chancellor. Came to a lot of our games, and we never really had any security or anything like that when he was the Chancellor. But he became the Prime Minister. So when he became Prime Minister, it completely changed, didn't it? They were all in. They dug the drains up. They were up in trees for about a week. The security was unbelievable. So we played the game on a Saturday, and at the end of the, I'm sure we beat Forfar 2-0. And Gordon Brown came in, and there was 4 big security guys, MI5 with the walkie-talkies, and my seat was right next to the door, and they're like, right, it's clear, in you come. So Gordon Brown comes in. Met him a few times before, but it's the first time you've met him as a Prime Minister, and it's still quite a big thing. He's quite posh talking, and he's like, well done today, yes, 2-0, clean sheet, we've still got a chance at the playoffs. And Gunter, who we've just mentioned, who was the kit man, was over in the corner, and Gunter grew up with Gordon Brown, and he was fixing one of the warm-up jerseys or something, and he hears Gordon Brown, he turns round, and he's like, Cogsy, all right, Shagger.
Prime Minister.
And Gordon Brown goes, all right, Gunter, how you doing, my man? These big MI5 guys are going, Shagger? It's the first time a Prime Minister's been called Shagger in the history. Well, maybe know, but you never know. But Gunter, what a character.
2 fighters together, you expect. They're kind of
some character.
Up together somewhere along the line.
See, every part I've had that's played at the top level, they always talk about how kit men held all the changing rooms together.
Absolutely.
And he ran the show, like he done all the fines and everything. You couldn't step out of line. Gunter was all over you. Brilliant.
He was brilliant. He was in class. But we've been big. Simon Pollock came in later on the second time I went back, and he was different class. And Chris here, there's got a celebrity kit man here. He's brilliant as well. It can make the dressing room. It can make the dressing room because the boys love him, and that means a lot. He can smooth things over. A lot. Yeah. It means backroom staff is so important. It's so important you get that right.
So you missed out in the playoffs that season, then you released me, and then you
won
and then you won the league the next season.
The reason he missed out in the playoffs was the goalie, apparently.
That was the reason you won the league the next. No, but David McGovern.
You're harshing yourself, Chris.
No, David McGovern was a brilliant keeper.
He was a brilliant goalie. Gary O'Connor as well. With some good goalkeepers. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm very fortunate now to have 2 good goalkeepers here with Scott Bain and Big Nicky Hogarth. They're worth a weight in gold. Save you points every season. And the way we try to play for the back, and they've got to be good with their feet as well. And it's very, very important. So good goalies are, any successful team's got a good goalie.
See, back in that era when you had Chris's team and the Raith Rovers teams, has football changed? Because at that stage when I was looking at the players, it looked like you had big, strong centre-halves. Do you think it's changed a lot since their days? As in, you need to...
There's still a big, strong centre-halves kicking.
I know, but I mean, it's like they were like, it's if it was... You know what I mean? Like they're more kind of aggressive or something. I don't know. I think when you look at teams now, centre-halves are expected to play a lot and stuff like that.
From that point of view.
So I don't know if it's maybe changed a wee bit.
Well, it's changed all right. But then it's up to the individual and the way you want to play as well. So at that time, I came from Heart, right? And so with Craig, everything was very structured. All the teams, all the way down the youth, all played the same way. We generally played 4-4-2. There was like, this is A, B, C, D. This is what happens, and we had it like structured, and that's what I wanted to bring into Raith Rovers. Now, sometimes you'll have to bide your time until you'll be able to do that because you might not have the players. So what suited us was these 3 big centre backs between Marvin Andrews, Mark Campbell, and Todd Lumsden. So, by the way, that's a big 3 centre backs. And so,
by the way, I wasn't the biggest goalie, so it was brilliant for me. Big Marv used to say to me, any balls in the box, don't come for it. He said, because when that ball's in the air, I don't care if you shout keepers, I'm going for the ball. And I'll go through everybody, and that means if you're there, I'll go through you.
Kick it, is that true?
Honestly,
absolutely.
And I'm not even exaggerating. Marvin Andrews could header the ball through the penalty spot over the halfway line. True,
easy.
Do you mind a game? There's one game, and I think this boy's probably still scarred from it. We played Stirling Albion and it was right down at the far side at the starts part, and he ran up the wing, and Big Marv took him. And remember at the time it was ash down the side, and this boy went up in the air, right, hit the ash, and he never moved. He's killed him. But Big Marv was the most honest player in the world. There wasn't a dirty bone in his body.
No, but he was very committed.
Aye. If he went for that ball,
get back up and go back on, and maybe happen again. Aye, no, that day they were brutes, absolutely.
Colossal,
yeah, so of course, I mean the games, and we finally got back into what we wanted with 4-4-2 and wingers, and and we played. So I just thought that you can still play good football in 4-4-2.
Of course,
for now, we're a 4-2-3, one team a 4-3-3. We can change. We've worked here long enough now, similar to the previous virtually 4 years I had it at Raith Rovers. We got that team playing virtually the same way. I learned a lot for Brendan Rodgers and Celtic in that period that I went. So after Hearts, well, obviously there's 6 years, 5.5 years at Raith Rovers. Back to Hearts for a 7-month period, and then out to work for about a 7-month period. Back into Livingston, was there for about 15 months in the Championship. So they were again bottom of the Championship. The first season was a matter of keeping them in the league, which we did. Second season, again we were flirting with kind of relegation around about the Christmas period. However, we had managed to get to the Challenge Cup final, but then, well, more or less they pulled the plug around about Christmas, about a week before Christmas. They changed things, so I was at work again, but I went very quickly into the Celtic job. Peter Houston was in a position there.
I think he still had it till recently.
He did.
There's that Hearts connection all the way through, John, isn't there? We talk about networking, but there's been that Hearts.
There is, but then there wasn't really connected as such. But you're right. You're right. So there was a job going about, and I went through interviews and managed to get the job, and I was there for nearly 4 years. So initially it was scouting, all over domestic and European, all over the place. And then when Brendan came in, I got the job as opposition analyst, so watching the opposition and doing reports on the opposition, and both again domestically and in Europe. So some great games to go and watch and do reports on, and you're picking things up all the time. And in the meetings, you pick up so much for Brendan and his staff. So again, his staff's very, very important with Chris Davis and John Kennedy and Chris. Stevie Woods, I should say. Stevie Woods, Colo Toure, the guys that I work with, Craig Dunbar, Paul McLeish, Stevie Gormall. So all these guys put everything together. Like I would do reports, and then they would would make it almost a glossy magazine. And between Paul, Stevie, they would do the analysis on it. So now I would go through it on a Thursday for a Saturday game type thing, and went through it. And I'm picking up things, what they're looking for, and how I can look at the games and how that's going to affect the team. Look for what the opposition, how they build the game. If they build the game, where do they go? What do they do when they get into? So they split the pitch up into 4 phases. So obviously 1, 2 in your half, 3, 4 in their half. And what do they do in each of these areas? Phase 1, how do they build the game? Now most teams might just go direct. Where do they kick it? How far do they kick it? What's the target? But if there is a way playing out, what do they do? And what do they do in this area? What do they do there? And what do they do at the top end? So do they deliver the ball early? Do they come back and then deliver? Do they get to the byline? Do they come and play?
Didn't have granular detail in it.
So a lot of detail, which you're picking up all the time. So that was where, when I went back into Raith Rovers in 2018, brought 1 or 2 players in that I knew were going to pass the ball, and we became very much a possession-based team. So it was trying to get them to play the same kind of style, but with different players.
Do you think you took that off of Brendan Rodgers, John?
Absolutely.
Because I mean,
the tactical side.
I went into Lennoxtown and I met Stevie Woods, and he took me into his office and he showed me a presentation, and it was on about how you play it for the back. He says the fans will always get on you. He says they'll want to go you play it long all the time. I think the start was something like you're 68% more chance of scoring a goal if you
Yeah.
play out for the back.
Yeah.
And that was all based on Brendan Rodgers and his style of play, and it was all on percentages and stats. And I was like, and at that time, Neil Lennon had just come in, and it was a completely different approach to the way Brendan Rodgers came in, because he didn't have as many backroom staff to start with, and it was a bit sort of, like the way he described it, was a bit blood and thunder. So from a Celtic fan's point of view, it's amazing how you went for like a manager of Brendan Rodgers and his style of play to sort of Neil Lennon and his style of play. So that was just something I noticed when I was in there.
Aye, well that's it. Everyone's got their way of playing, and there's no right and there's no wrong. It's whatever kind of works for you, as long as it works, you know.
Yeah.
If you change it and things that work, then you leave yourself wide open. But as long as it kind of works. But then people, you know, they then enjoy something and they see something that's working and it's good and it's nice in the eye, and if you're getting results, and so it's quite in your face right now between Brendan's team and then Wilfred Nancy coming in, and obviously there's a great criticism on that, and then now, so it's very topical and it's very much in your face what's been happening, and I don't want to get involved in that because it's not my cup of tea, but then recruitment if you're saying about Falkirk now, recruitment is so important, massively important. Of course it is, you know.
It's players to suit your style, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Well, you said it earlier, that's the thing. Sometimes it doesn't work for other managers or whatever.
How do you do it, John, with your recruitment? Do you have a network of scouts out there, or do you do it yourself? Or how do you do that?
Well, we don't. When I come here, we're had 2 seasons, 5th and 6th before we come in here, in League One, finishing 5th and 6th.
I remember
so that's Falkirk. Falkirk's a huge football club, so in that time there's cutbacks. So basically, when we came in, Alan Fraser, who's back with us now, Alan Fraser was working with the previous, management team.
Yeah.
So Alan had players that he had highlighted, whatever. And we brought in players that we felt were going to do a job and get us up. Exactly. Up. And we came very close. So like Cole Donaldson, who's been here all the duration. Now I had Cole at Livingston as a young boy at Livingston. He went to QPR. And then he had his, with Dundee United and Ross Counties and Inverness's. And so he was actually on loan at Dunfermline from Ross County when we got him here 4 years ago, now just about 4 years ago, and he did great for us. Liam Henderson, who was at Arbroath, he was involved in a team that nearly got up not so long ago, that Campbell's team where they got beat by Kilmarnock in the playoff. He's been brilliant, so he was one of the other ones that came in first. So we brought in players. We felt they needed a bit more physicality in the team, we needed a bit more height in the team. I felt they were quite a small team. And obviously we wanted Cole could play, Hendo can play. We've turned over quite a number of players. When we came in, there was 14 players signed here and under contract here, and there was only maybe enough money to get to 20, so we probably brought in roughly 6 players, approximately 6 players. And so it took another, because there was no money really. You've got to work enough to get 6 players in, trying to make it better. Again, things like making this place a little bit better as well, making sure. So one of the first things came in, the physio room, the beds were all like physio beds are all like split, all the sort of padding in them, all showing. So I said to one of the directors, I can't have this. So he knew somebody who stayed beside him, and so for the players coming back in pre-season, not brand new, but ones that were refurbished, medical tables, the medical room all cleaned up.
We think
standards. Standards. So you're setting standards again. And that's just, again, a kind of like knock-on effect. So where we are now from where we were then, in a very short period of time, we've came on leaps and bounds in every area.
So see, with a club like Falkirk, where probably now your budget's a lot more than it was at the start, but it's not massive. Every player needs to count. You can't afford players not to count for you. So do you do a lot of background checks on their personality and not just their footballing ability, but do you look if they're going to fit into the dressing room and that side of it as well?
Yeah. So again, we've probably brought some players again with us. So that was a recruitment. So like Brad, we had Brad at Brad Spencer at Raith Rovers, and we actually tried to get Brad the first season, but he stayed at Raith Rovers, but we got him in the second season, and so I knew everything about Brad. I knew how he was going to help.
Impact the changing room and stuff and whatever.
Usually he was going to help. there's all the others that come into that same kind of category. So yeah, when you work with people before, you know exactly what you're going to get. It's when you go further afield. And so in Scotland, it's a goldfish bowl. You can just pick the phone up and somebody's going to be able to tell you. And it's their reputation that's on stake, so they're going to tell you the truth. More of 99 times out of 100, you're getting an honest opinion to somebody because they know you're never going to go back to them. Or can you say, well, I spoke with Chris and he gave me a bad report, so I'll not be going back to him. So if you want to find out for him, then don't bother. So it's that type of thing. So you have to try and find out as much as you can. Now, as we branch out a little bit further, you know, where we can't always continue to bring back into the football club players that we
somebody knows,
yeah, but already we've managed to bring in Craig Sybil, so we know that Craig is going to fit into this dressing room seamlessly. He's going to fit into the team seamlessly because he's the type of player that will just fit in, and he wants to be here. You know, he wants to be here. You've probably seen that in kind of bits and pieces of interviews that have kind of like come out as a Falkirk guy, so he's local, and he was here when he came through the system and everything else. So, you know, that's an easy one. As we trying to get other players, and we maybe have to go into foreign players, then, because we don't have many, foreign players, So, because where we've come from, you wouldn't get anyone want to come to a second team finishing 5th and 6th in League One for PSG. Nah, no chance. They know what to come to us anyway. So, but then it'll be a bit more difficult to get the characters right, because we've brought a lot of players in on loan, guys that come up from England, young boys mainly, and we've no lost the dressing room. So the big thing is trying to keep the dressing room together and with the greatest respect. And, if you lose that by guys know what to fit in, know what to be part of it, it can break up. And what we've got, because we have the lowest budget, no way should we be finishing 6th. It's that camaraderie, spirit, togetherness, everything. We've got a Scottish or a British mentality dressing room, and they're all fighting for each other, backing each other up, and we play good football as well.
I think that's maybe your main strength, John, is that you get the players and you get the backroom staff and probably you need to manage up as well. You get the directors and the board all pushing in the right
Still
direction.
working on that one.
It's easier said than done.
As soon as budget's mentioned,
I know.
It goes to...
Well, just won the Scottish Cup this year, then that's all you need to do.
But no, she's done that, and what I've took, I'm sitting listening, I think it's brilliant. I think the biggest thing, how much do you think, she going to Celtic and be able to watch that much football? It must have been brilliant for a guy like you, it's a coach, and actually love it and be able to sit back. It's phenomenal.
Absolutely. I mean, all the teams that Celtic played in that time, so I know that Man City, Barcelona's, Anderlecht, Bayern Munich, Gladbach, loads and loads of teams. So I might go and watch Barcelona, but they might be playing Atletico Madrid, or so I'm going and watching them across in Spain before they come and play Celtic. So I'm going and watching these games, and honestly, if you can't learn watching that, then you'll never learn. You know what I mean? And being in that environment and watching games and watching every blinking detail that you can take. And yes, it's for the media, is to help Celtic get a result, which against Barcelona is very difficult. But for your own personal development, thinking, I see that, I can use that, then it helps you.
You say that sounds great, and on paper that sounds like your dream job. I might get into Lennoxtown and I got a jersey off you for a charity. And I'm not saying you were depressed, but you weren't happy. You were desperate to get back into senior football, because you were like, it felt like, I mind talking to you and you were just like, you were just desperate to get back in, weren't you? So I think when the Raith Rovers job came, on the face it, you weren't watching Barcelona and Atletico Madrid, but you were back in where you should have been.
Yeah, I'm probably more comfortable in that environment than, on the training ground, probably more comfortable. But when you had a few quick jobs, like the 7 months at Hearts and then the 15 months at Livingston, considering that I was at Hearts for 11 years, so I was longevity, loyal, whatever words you want to kind of use. I was there for a long time. Then I get 2 quick jobs now. It's probably, I was earning more money as a plumber than when I went into starting at Hearts. So I actually took pay cut to kind of take that job. So I wasn't earning fortunes, far from it. So when you have a couple of quick jobs, you're no long and running out of money. You know what I mean? So you need to get a job to get back in. And the Celtic job got me 4 years of stabilisation, and so when you jump again, you know, it's football. You could last 2 minutes. Fortunate enough to say, we lasted nearly 4 years there, and we're coming up for 4 years here, and well, got a contract for another 3 years.
It's probably a bit deep, and I don't know if you ever thought of this, but see if you didn't have that period, do you think you'd be where you were just now in the Premier League?
Who knows, eh?
Because you might have just
Who
bounced
knows?
about the sort of Championship, League One, but maybe just working under
Maybe you might
Brendan
be a
Rodgers.
plumber. Maybe under floorboards right
The
now.
showers at Stars Park.
Pipes or something, Lincoln.
But maybe
No,
that,
exactly.
maybe.
No,
Aye.
exactly. Yeah,
Aye.
it's a wee bit of luck in it as well.
Yep.
You need somebody to open a door for you. You need to try and get in. Very, very difficult. There's some, like, I get on well with like Big Crystal Bearer. He was trying to get into jobs. He's now went into financial advising
Aye.
type thing. He's went through that. So you try, and then you realise, well, like what you guys are doing,
Yeah.
what you guys are doing now. They realise I've got a long time to live, and
Yeah.
the money will not last forever, and
Yeah.
so I need to do something else. And so he tried for jobs, and then they get them, and now he's in financial advising, and you know,
It's amazing you
you'll
talk about him
look
because
after
we
you
are.
after.
I'm in partnership now with a organisation called LAPS, so it's Life After Professional Sports. They introduced
Yeah.
him to that. So they talk about him as a case study, saying it was more, he was just like straight for, I'm going to get a job doing something, and they loved that about him, and that's
Yeah.
how they helped him into
Yeah,
the finance stuff. But he seems to be doing brilliant for himself now. See him on LinkedIn, he's
Yeah.
constantly like active.
Yeah.
Good on him.
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, you're looking at a guy who played for Scotland 41 times,
Yeah.
and he
I
can't
know.
get into a football job. So again, speaking on like behalf of like a lot of coaches, we never put anyone off. You know about, you know, the dream is to go there, but it's like being a young boy trying to be a football player. There's more knockbacks than there is once you actually get through, and it's the dream's there, and you should never give up on it. But at the same time, it's hard to get in.
With the English PFA give you a stat, so 0.05% make it as millionaires as footballers, and 10% make it in jobs that can support them after football, coaching, scouting, all that kind of stuff. And more the boys I speak to now, like I speak to a lot of boys that were playing Championship in England and stuff, they've earned a decent amount of money.
Yeah.
It's not been enough to retire.
No,
And when they're getting into coaching jobs, their salary's taking a plummet.
Yep.
And then they're going, a minute, I thought I'd continuously earned that money as a coach, and it's not the case.
it's not the case. No, it's not
No.
the case. No, you're almost starting from scratch again and trying to build your reputation and try and
Yeah.
building blocks to get back up. And if you didn't get the results, then all of a sudden you're looking for another job.
You've got to, I mean, with your pathway, you just think there's been so much variance in it. The kids
Yeah.
start into the juniors. The junior must have been quite a different changing room for being coaching kids. Maybe set you up for ready to go into the adult. It's like, as if everything's probably fell into place for you. When you look back at it now, it's been brilliant for like a
Absolutely.
whole
No,
journey.
I had a long apprenticeship,
Aye.
you know, and that's what I would advise, maybe not so long, but going from being a player into being a manager is a huge step, massive step. And the bigger the club that you go to, the bigger that step is. And if you don't serve some kind of apprenticeship, then
Tough.
it's a higher risk that it's probably not going to work out, because it's completely different. And even if you go through being a first team coach and an assistant, it's still nothing like being the manager. So
Aye.
I would try to advise, as much as it's difficult, to try and take these little steps of learning all the way before you can take that big step. But, you know, there will be guys who do take it, because they're always a minority in everything, that actually can go from there to there and knock it off.
Again, it's one of the ones people hear that you've been the manager of the year 3 times in a row, but they don't hear all that work that's been put into getting to that stage. It's a lot of the time. Roy Keane talks about it as well. He always says that, and I love listening to him, the overlap, because he's obviously quite blunt, right? But
Yeah, yeah.
he says, like, coaches, it's like everything falls together, needs to fall together. He's like, I might be good at managing and getting the best out of people,
Yeah.
but I know people are not going to like me in the coaching ground, so I might be too intense for them. It's like, there's just so much goes into it, and I think the more you learn for that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, probably it's
But that's where you need your backroom team. You need different
Aye, it's like
personalities, and
building
Yeah.
a structure.
somebody's got different strengths and different skills in different
Aye.
areas. So, aye.
Pick
Yeah,
the
it's
right- pick
just getting the
goalie.
balance right. Yeah, it's
Aye.
like getting the balance right in the team, and it's a game off the park, getting that balance right. You can't read the right act every blinking week. It gets
No.
boring and take your head in, and you didn't help anyone type thing. We've been very successful,
Yeah.
really, over the past, coming up for 4 years. So it's been minority times where you feel that you've had to maybe, raise your voice type thing.
Aye.
I think with age as well, you can mellow a little bit. You realise that you're just letting off steam for letting off steam's sake. You will never let your standards drop. But we've got a fairly relaxed, environment
Yeah.
here. We've got we give the players their place. You know, we work on, well, you know, you need to be how you would want to be treated. You need to treat other people the way you would want to be treated. And so we're no bullies. We're no bullies. We're no Hitlers. We're no dictators. We're no go to big whip out. You know, we give the players their place and we can all work together.
But the thing is, the players have set such a high standard that when they go below that standard, nobody will be able to shout at them and tell them. They know themselves when they've not played to that level or they've not gave 100% or whatever. So when they look in the mirror, they know fine well they haven't done what they can do. Aye.
We've been big on analysis. I don't know if you were there when I was doing the analysis Tuesday nights at
there was a
Falkirk.
few honest conversations. I think I was always one to combat me as well. Aye.
Chris, why are you letting your centre half defend every ball comes in the box? That kind of
no, there was a guy you brought in at the time that done all at the
Alec.
Aye.
He was at Dalgate Bay.
Aye, that was
there.
But he would always go into things like look at when you make that tackle, look at the difference it makes to the crowd.
Aye.
And talking about momentum with the crowd and getting that up and stuff like that as well. Aye.
Kenny Moore actually was the guy who had the analysis.
Yeah.
We developed it and worked with other people, but it's probably Kenny, you're right. Kenny was a Raith Rovers fan, he still is a Raith Rovers fan. So if you're watching this, Kenny, thanks for your work. So Craig Levine had brought in analysis in the year 2000 or 2001 into Hearts, and I've worked with that ever since, and we're big on that. And so the guys are very interactive with regards to last Saturday's game or whatever game it was, going over things. We look at that in quite in depth, and likewise when we're doing the opposite, as everyone does. We're no reinvented the wheel or anything like that, but we're very much looking at every single bit of detail that we can possibly get to.
It's because such a big thing in modern football and analysis stuff.
So this season, probably just jump into that, you've had an amazing season. So I don't think we're jumping the gun here, but it looks like you're likely to get top six. Semi-finals of the Scottish Cup. Talk me through it. I take it it's not been plain sailing, but it's going very well now.
No, we're delighted to be where we are. It's getting a little bit like where we were last season in the Championship. We were 11 points clear at one time. Right. And then I go down to being on the last day of the season. So trying to get the sixth place kind of cemented and official is becoming a little bit trickier. 2 games to go. We need a point. And of course, it means that Dunedin's got to win their both games, but they certainly upset the apple cart the last game beating Celtic. And so, you can't rely on anyone. You've got to really go and do it yourself.
How can you predict getting this year, John? I was saying how can you predict this season? Everything's been like all the time.
Absolutely. And
I think one thing is, I'm not saying a table, but I'd imagine the budget of Falkirk will be nowhere near some of the teams that are below you. So I think sometimes people looking from the outside in, they don't look at budgets. They just think, Falkirk are doing well, they should be up there. But maybe you've got an Aberdeen that will maybe get 4 or 5 times maybe more budget than what you guys are. So
aye. Well, we'll have got the worst budget by a country mile.
In the league?
Oh,
aye. All right, okay.
By a country mile, absolutely,
Mm.
So it's great credit to the players that they managed to perform. You come up with momentum, you come up with that spirit that I spoke about, and as long as the first game, I'm not going to go through every game by the way, but the first game is quite a big game, or with Sky, Dundee United out there, and we go behind, we equalise, we go behind, and then we equalise, and we get a draw in the very first game, and it was such, like, from being promoted, Falkirk as a town was just buzzing last summer, all buzzing, absolutely, every pub and everything, everyone was talking about the start of the season, so big crowd coming along. We've now got 5,700 season ticket holders, basically every game's a sellout, and they're just loving what they're seeing, and so we're playing attractive football. So you're right, there's been ups and downs, because almost the next game, we went to Livingston and got beat. Livingston has been a team that we've kind of been, a bogey team to us if you want to carry that, and then the Championship, we couldn't beat them, and they were getting points of us here, they took 10 points of us. So that was like par for the course. We go to Aberdeen and we win a game, and obviously you're back on and up. So we managed to get enough points on the board. We got 15 points in the first 11 games, so we took the season over. So when you're in the Championship and below, it's fairly straightforward. You've got 10 teams, it's 4 9s, 36. So you take it over the first 9, the second 9, the third 9, the fourth 9. With the split in the Premiership, you're taking it first 11, second 11, third 11. So in the first 11, we've got 15 points. In the second 11 games, we've got 15 points. And at the moment, with 13 games played, we picked up 13 points.
Mm-hmm.
So it's on schedule. If we had got 15, we would have been already
on
in the top 6.
Aye.
Yeah, it would be uncatchable. And so it just goes to show, that it's actually, in this season, we didn't particularly pick 15 points. We actually got the first 15 points. If we can do it once, we can do it twice. And it just shows you that if we had, and we've got, so in the first 11 games, that's the same round of games we're playing now. So we went to Motherwell and we beat Motherwell and we got a draw against Rangers out there. So in the first round of games, we've taken 4 points.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we can do that again, we'll have actually picked up, we'll be on 47 points.
Aye.
We'll be on like 47 points, which will be the top 6, and we wouldn't be a million miles away from the next team up, right? But then, since then, Motherwell's went on a great run. They actually were doing well when we went there and won. Probably one of the few teams to go there and win. So they've been going great. Obviously, Rangers had a transfer window where they brought in big players and kind of like kept on, you'd say. Because the last game, Martin was here when the previous Rangers manager, Russell Martin, he ended up leaving the club when the game here. And so since Danny Rose came in, they've kicked on. And so, there's nothing to say that we can get 4 points or a point, but we obviously we have to try and get as many points as we possibly can.
And financially, being in that top 6 is huge for you guys. I take it, transfer budget-wise, that's going to have a huge impact on you. Are you starting to look at transfers in the budget for or transfers for next season now already?
Yeah, that's what I said. We've already got Craig Sibbald on a pre-contract, and one or two others probably not a million miles away. So we are already. The top 6 for most teams would be huge, but because we've got sellouts as it is, if we had another 4 stand, then we were going to fill that with Celtic fans, Rangers fans, Hibs, Hearts fans, then we bring in much more money, but we can't even necessarily. So when you play the top 6 for other teams, they can maybe sell 3 parts of a stadium, like say a St Johnstone or a Kilmarnock or a Livingston. Could probably sell 3/4 of the stadium to the opposition, whereas we can't. So it's not such, of course, in prize money. It goes up. Whether it's 75 grand a position or 100 grand, whatever it may be. I don't know. Is
TV affected by that as well? Is there more games shown in the top 6, or does it matter?
I think there's going to be. I think there's going to be. I'm not entirely sure how that works out for us, because obviously it's part of the deal.
The deal that goes on.
So, but I mean, financially, football clubs in a much stronger position, hugely with everything that the clubs, the success on the pitch is helping the whole aspects of the club to be financially better.
It's also going to be playing a part in probably one of the most historic leagues I've seen in years, isn't it?
That's what we want to see.
You want to be involved in the games.
It's so exciting. And as Chris mentioned there, and I've never touched on it, the Scottish Cup semi-final with Fairman, which is like a huge game for both
big
clubs.
derby, isn't it?
Yeah, huge derby. Fans don't like each other.
They don't.
Mildly. So that's brought a little bit of added spice to it. So Saturday, 12:30, I think it is, on the 18th of April, I think it is. So huge game, and could really make this an incredible season. We've had some great seasons, and this season could actually top it off.
Could get European football at the end of it, on a trophy.
Thank the carrots there, It's a matter of just really grabbing it and taking it,
I was thinking about this last night, John. Right, so what's the future? What's your ambitions? So obviously you've got a lot of ambitions here at Falkirk, but I spoke to Alan, who's here in the background, and I think you should be in the frame. You never get mentioned, right? And you'll be embarrassed when you say
exactly.
I think you should be in the frame for if there's any conversations down the line. We'll say now you're happy here at Falkirk, but say 5-10 years down the line for the Scotland manager.
Down the line.
You'll always be involved in football.
I'm 64.
Would you have any ambitions?
Roy Hodgson just coming back in. Could be a young
Martin Hill. Would you have any ambitions to be the Scotland manager one day?
Oh, it's that would be kind of like a dream. That's for being where I have been. That would be absolutely.
That'd be like the icing on the cake, wouldn't it, for your story?
You better believe it.
If you get it, you've got big Christy back now.
I'll come in as a goal. I said that when you go back into the game. Go back as your goalie coach, so you should get a Scotland job.
That's unbelievable. So, I mean, listen, see, for me, it's just, even to where you are now, it's no by any coincidence, is it? And that's
Hard
where, I
work.
mean, you think
Hard work.
everything you've done is hard work.
Hard work.
I speak to, and I kind of spoke to you a bit off camera about it, John, but I still think the stay traits that make people, footballers need to know there's a career after their football, and see all the traits you're talking about. It's okay if you've probably been a plumber,
Yeah.
been in junior teams and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Like, I want football
How many
players
roll your
to-
sleeves up and actually do
But
things?
nothing comes for nothing.
No.
I keep saying
Don't bring
that.
it with a plate,
Always
mate.
we're looking to do with pitch to placement says I'm looking to now give boys and girls a grounding of like, here's how you do the job. Go make yourself successful. Take all the skills you've learned in football and go and make a bit of money after your career's done as well. So I've spoke about it a wee bit on here. The chances have been everybody. I would encourage anyone to be a footballer all their life. It's the best time of your life if you can manage and coach and that's what you want to do. Brilliant. It's such a small minority of people who can do it. Do you see a lot of that going through the football clubs? I guess is a question for me.
Yeah, because I've worked in kind of youth and young players, then sometimes bump into them years on, and they mention how the discipline side of things and being at meetings at the right time and making sure they're at match day and they're all wearing the same, just a bit simple of discipline has led them into, they've used these attributes, whatever you want to call them, skills in other jobs, and they've found it very, advantage, an advantage to them because of that helpful, all these type of things. That's for sure.
And that's the thing working under you, John, is you're not just making them better footballers, you're hopefully making them better people and better human beings.
I hope
so.
Well, I don't know. I'm the exception to the rule. But you do have that discipline, these standards. You were never a shouter and baller in the dressing room, but you commanded respect. So it's driving these standards and getting them to buy into it.
You hope that's the case. You know, you absolutely do. And I remember these things in life going forward. You know, but again, it's how you've been brought up and how you've been able to take things on, and standards, everything like that are massive. But the skills, it's what you've learned from other people, you know, like the old physio at Hearts. Alan Ray was a great disciplinarian, and you take these things on board, you know, and like guys I mentioned there, Paul Hegarty and Peter Houston and all that, when they're training, you know, sayings, if you're slack off the park, you'll be slack on the pitch. All these things are taken through football clubs, and it's all ingrained into you, and you want your standards to be high. And, if you get the buy-in for the players, and that's where you can manage to let them go, and they'll go the extra mile for you, type thing, when they all believe in it. And it works if you can manage to get that right.
Definitely.
Chemistry, it's about chemistry, you know, camaraderie, culture.
Culture.
Produce this kind of culture where they all want to come to work, they're all desperate to come to work, put a smile on their face. It helps in their success, of course.
And all of that's relevant in football, but it's also relevant in business as well.
100%.
You need the right culture, you need the right work ethic and everything else. So,
we spoke about it a few times on here. I always just remember my first job in recruitment, and the first thing I wanted to do was, who's the best in here? When the guy went, I'm over there, and I could see him sitting reading the paper, and I'm like, he's got the best numbers, and he's sitting reading the paper because his numbers have been done that month, but he was so efficient at what he did. But I just stuck to him like a sponge. I'm going, how do you do it? How do you make the money? But that was all through football for me. It was like, that's just a football mentality, I think.
Well,
and
the best you can be.
The best you can be. Competitive. And I think with a lot of the guys now and girls we're talking to, I'm just trying to make them believe it. Such a, to give you an example, I was down at Doncaster Rovers last week, 21-year-old boys, they're sitting there waiting in their decisions to know, been there since they were 9. And I'm talking to these boys about after football, and I can see they're going, I want to be involved in football now. But it's like going, I would encourage you to be footballers all your life. It's the best bloody job in the world, but you need to realise that it comes after it is quite dangerous. Mental health, falling into positions where you can't financially secure yourself. And that's what we're trying to find, that thin line. I suppose for me is to go, look, please be successful, but no, there's somebody here to get your back a wee bit if you need something else to fall back in.
It's that thing we talked about with Ryan Stevenson, it's that pathway.
100%.
It's just saying,
if
your life's no football, then what is it? And a lot of guys come out of football and they don't know what the pathway is. So we're just saying, we'll give you a pathway into sales, we'll give you a pathway into recruitment, we'll give you a pathway into something else. So it's just giving somebody that training and giving them the thoughts on it.
Yeah, no, I think what you're doing is magnificent, and it's required, it's needed actually, to help these guys, because it's all they've known and it's very much a culture shock when they don't know what to do, and it can be worrying times for them and probably their families. So yeah, fair play to you guys. What you're doing is magnificent.
I think the biggest one we keep hearing is it's like they lose their identity a bit when you come out of football. It's like they think all they've ever been is Ryan Stevenson, the footballer, Dan McManus, the footballer, and all of a sudden it's like, what am I going to do now? Somebody needs to help them because the skill set they've got is phenomenal.
Is that the hardest bit of your job, John?
Well, the hardest bit is on the days where you're maybe having to say that you're not getting a new contract to people.
That's what I mean.
And it doesn't really differentiate a great deal, because a young boy, you're destroying all their dreams, and if it's a senior player, well, they've still got to pay.
When
And they may go and get another job,
higher
but nonetheless,
and higher
it
lifestyle.
can be a real bad time, yeah.
I think with that, but I know that's your style as well. I think if you're honest with them as you're going along, most players at the end, it doesn't come as a surprise. They sort of know it's coming.
They're no daft. They're no daft. You can have losers of grandeur and such like things, but then generally 9 times out of 10 they've got the idea.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not playing for weeks on end, there's a kind of telltale sign in it.
It's a sore one.
So listen, John, we appreciate your time. Honestly, I mean, like we said, hearing your story there just inspiring, in all honesty, for me.
A bit of enthusiasm as well. Enthusiasm, hard work, dedication, putting the time, putting the hours in.
And it's why I learn. That's the other thing as well. It's like I always say to people, they think, I don't know if I could be in sales. And I'm like, how do you not know? Well, just go in, try it. And see if you try it and you get, for me, it was like a buzz on, I was a striker, and it's like, it's the only way I can compare it to is getting a sale for me. My first commission check was like scoring a goal a wee bit. So it was like, to me, it was like, I can do that and I can get how much paid towards me. Fine, I'll just keep doing that thing and learn and get better. So that's what I've tried. It's not actually as big a jump as what people would think. A lot of the environments you put people into, I quite like changing rooms a wee bit as well. And it doesn't feel quite as alien.
Corporate.
It doesn't feel quite as alien. So listen, we appreciate your time. Best of luck the rest of the season.
Cheers,
I mean, that's going to be, we're going to be watching me.
I hope you do it. I really do. Hope you have a fantastic end to the season.
Cheers.
I'm still not forgiving you for the release. You can
tell me the story. You can tell me the story off camera why that happened. I guess it was his latest risk, maybe. But right, appreciate your time.
No more. Thank you. Cheers. Thank you very much.